Today in Turning Type 2, we're going to be looking at medication. Don't go away. Hello everybody and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we're going to be looking at my medication for managing my type 2 diabetes. Be forewarned, in this video I am going to be giving myself some shots. And you're going to have to look at my stomach, and it may be kind of gross, but hey, this is for science. So I think we can all push through. Before we talk about the medication, we're going to go ahead and talk about what they do for me and how they do it. But before we get into that, let's kind of get an understanding of what's going on with sugar in our system. Imagine that your cells are a super popular nightclub. Sugar is the crazy jerk outside who wants to get in. But he can't get in because there's a doorman. So no matter what he wants to do, he's not able to get in. But hey, the people who run the nightclub, they want it to be fun and exciting, right? So they need some of these kind of guys, just not too many of them. They let too many in, you get fights and mayhem and people are puking into the benches and stuff, and you don't need that, right? So what do? Your doorman allows a certain amount of these people into the club to keep the club pumping and keep it jumping and happy and fun. And that is what's going on in your body. Your cells are the nightclub. Sugar is that crazy idiot who can make things really fun in moderation. And the doorman is insulin. Take any element out of that, and the whole thing falls apart. Either the club is a downer, or too many of those idiots get inside and then just all hell breaks loose. You need the system to keep the club happy and pumping and everybody dancing and having a good time. That's what we need in our cells. We need the right amount of sugar in there to keep everything rolling along. So your body needs sugars or glucose, and they burn that to create energy so you can go about your day. They're essentially, and remember, everything that I'm telling you here, I'm boiling it down to really simplistic levels. There are essentially two kinds of sugars you're going to get. You're going to get simple sugars. That's like you went to the sugar jar, took a big spoonful and gulped it. Instant sugar, okay? Yes, your body can use it, but it comes and goes fast, okay? It's in and out of your system, and you're back to the problem of not having enough sugar. What your body really wants is complex carbohydrates. From the complex carbohydrates, your body converts them into sugar, then they use that sugar to power your cells and your entire body. The sad news is these sugars can't get into the cells by themselves, and that's where insulin comes into play. If your body is not producing enough insulin, or it's being overwhelmed by the amount of sugar in your system, the system collapses. So you become a diabetic, and now we have to help the system out. Being a type 2 diabetic means that you either have too much sugar in your system, not enough insulin production to manage the sugar, or maybe even both. At the end of the day, these are very treatable with diet and medication, but failing to treat it can be life-threatening. So what is my day-to-day regime? Aside from checking my sugar twice daily, I take METFORMIN twice daily, I take LANTUS once daily, I take TRULICITY once per week, and I stick to a low-carb diet. So let's talk about metformin. Metformin helps control the sugar in your body, and it does this in two ways. First, it helps regulate the sugar production by your liver. Second, it increases the sensitivity of your cells to insulin allowing it to do a better job. LANTUS is a once-daily long-acting insulin. Essentially, it's either going to augment your body's insulin production or replace it completely. Normally, giving an injection is a tricky thing, and you have to know the dosages, and you have to know how to read the labels on medications and stuff, but LANTUS comes ready to go in a very simple form factor. It's in an automated pen. You put a new needle on the end of it, and you are prescribed units. All you have to do is dial in the proper amount of units. In my case, it's 30. So I dial in 30 and I inject myself with this, and it's that simple. No complicated formularies to know or anything like that. Just dial in my units and I'm good to go. How many units you're going to have to take every day is going to be something that your doctor will determine, and over time, that number can vary. If you're having any problems, make sure you discuss it with your physician so they can adjust accordingly. TRULICITY is medication I take once a week, and it does several things for me. One thing it does is it slows down my digestion. This allows my body to better regulate the digestion process, the creation of sugars, and how I use them. It also controls the liver's production of sugars. That's a very important thing for keeping your sugar levels normal. And finally, it entices your body to do a better job of creating its own insulin. This shot is also very simple to use, but you don't even have to dial in units. This one, you take the cap off, turn it on, and inject it, and you're done. There's no brain power involved in this thing. It's very important to follow the safety rules when you're taking these kinds of medications. First of all, you have to eat consistently and a well-balanced low-carb diet. You have to have enough carbs and enough sugars in your body that you don't become hypoglycemic or have low blood sugar, which can be just as bad as having high blood sugar. Medications are not just going to do the job alone. You have to monitor your sugar levels. You have to see your doctor routinely to follow up on your A1C. You're going to need to make sure that you're eating 3 meals a day and that you're within the proper levels of carbohydrates for each of those meals. You have to stay away from sugars. Those will spike you in a second. A schedule here is very, very important. You should try to take your medicines at the same time on the same day, week after week after week, along with eating at the same time of the day over and over again and sticking within the amount of carbs that your doctor said you need. By sticking to a schedule, this will train your body and make it know what to expect and help it be more efficient in handling your blood sugar. All right, now that you kind of have an idea of what my meds are going to do for me and what's going on with our sugars, let's go ahead and take my daily regime of medications. Okay, so here's all my stuff, starting with daily pills. Here I have my daily insulin pen and the needle to go with it. Here I have the once weekly pen. It goes over there. And here I have my little blood sugar testing kit. So I try to be consistent about this, and I do this at about 8 o'clock every morning. Sometimes, 7:30, 8:30, whatever. It doesn't have to be that exact, but you do want to try and be in some sort of a rhythm. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my morning blood sugar. For me, that's the most important one of the day. So I've got my little Lancer, and I'm going to start by loading that. And here's the little, I call them the little pig stickers. And I basically take one, I twist the little top of about a half a turn, and then I push it inside to the Lancer until it's nice and clicked,
and loaded. Then I take the protective cap off. Now I stick this back on here, lock it in, and this is ready for sticking. I do have another one. I use this one when I'm doing my fingers. I use this one when I'm doing my forearm. I'm going to be doing my forearm today. If you're really trying to be accurate, instead of your palm or your forearm, you need to be using your fingertips. But I've been pretty well controlled of late, so I don't really need to worry about it. I've got my little alcohol prep pad and my test strip, and Pickles here is trying to bother me. I try not to let the dogs in on this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and test the blood right in here somewhere, okay? And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my prep pad. And I just keep it in there, just wipe down my arm right here, right where I'm going to do it at. Once that's wiped down, then I go ahead and put my test strip in the meter. All right. Once it's ready to receive some blood, I pick a nice little juicy spot on my arm, push down firmly, and then I push the little trigger and whack, it'll puncture me. And then I'm going to squeeze and try and get enough blood out to get my reading. It's a pretty small drop. It may not be enough. No, it wants more. So I'm going to try and get a little bit more out. And if it wants more, you got to be pretty quick with it. Okay, it took it. So my sugar this morning is 103. All right, and then I'm going to register that it's before I eat, and I'm in the green range. As you can see, it lit up green here. So I'm in the green range. Sugar is really, really good this morning, and I can just go ahead and pull the test strip out. And I usually keep a little tissue here to put my used supplies on. Put this away, and then now I'll dispose of my little pig sticker by sticking it onto the cap and then ejecting it. Make sure that's on there good. All right. And there you have it. I've just done my morning sugar check. Okay. Now, one thing you want to really be careful about is not taking your insulin and then not eating, or taking your insulin and then not eating. If you do that, you can throw your blood sugar way down. So always make sure that you do all the things you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so now in my daily routine, I take my pen, I remove the cap, I look at the fluid, make sure it's clear and not jelly-like. Looks fine. Peel off this protective seal, and I will thread the needle onto the insulin pen. Okay, I take off the first cap, take off the second cap. And I'm going to dial up 2 units. I'm just going to squirt it onto this paper this tissue here to make sure that it flows properly. Now I can dial up my dosage, which is 30 units. I'm ready to go. So I warned you in one of my other videos, you're going to have to look at my stomach. So there it is, my big egg sac, as we call it, because it looks like a big pulsating spider egg sac. All right, so there's my belly. Here's my little needle. I just puncture it in, push the trigger, and hold till I hear the click. Wait a few seconds, and I pull it out. Okay, and that's all there is to that. By waiting a few seconds, we can help make sure that you don't start to leak back out through the hole there. All right, so we cap that back on there and unscrew this old needle. There we go. Put that into the tissue here too. And we can recap this. Okay, we're done with that. Now, once a week, I take Trulicity. This is a once weekly auto injector. And this one is a little bit more painful than the weekly one. You know you're getting a shot with this one. And it's going to go into one of my two thighs. So to use this, you take this little protective cap off, okay? And then you unlock it. You turn it from the lock position to the unlocked position. Now it's armed and ready to go, all right? And so I'm going to scooch up and expose my thigh. Excuse me for having you to have to see that again. Okay, so we'll clean off the area. Okay, and we put this up against my leg, and then I'm going to push the button, and I'm going to hear 2 clicks. The first one is it's starting, then you're going to get a pinch, and then you wait till the second one. So here we go. Ouch. And there's the second one, and we pull it away. Okay, that's all there is to that. And then finally, my daily pills. In addition to some of the pills I take for some of the other things, a multivitamin and some glucosamine, I also have metformin that I'm taking twice daily. And so I have this. And there that goes. And I slurmed a little. And that's the medicine.
Well, there you have it. Not too difficult and hopefully not too gross, okay? Hey, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's important to remember a couple of things. Your medications are not my medications. You need to know what you're being given and how it impacts your body. You need to be compliant. You need to follow your doctor's directions. You need to set a schedule. And if you do those things, and if you educate yourself, you're going to beat this diabetes. At the end of the day, turning type 2 means medication. But with understanding, you'll take the fright out of the entire process. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe. Make sure you click the little bell and you'll be notified anytime I release a new video. If you have any questions or comments, and I'm sure you do, leave them down below. I read everything. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Paul from Fat Guy Productions, wishing you an amazing, happy, and healthy, and low-carb, normal sugar level kind of day. Until next time, be good.